So I've been thinking about this this new generation 900, and been wondering what people's thoughts were of that particular generation. You know, you're preaching to the choir. I am definitely one of those people that think that a Saab, a classic, genuine Saab, is anything before the new generation, certainly before GM put their influence into the cars. But I have noticed, like, when I go around forums and you know, online and some of the chat rooms and things like that, that there are people very much find an appeal with the new generation, and it's getting its own following. I don't think it will ever have like the cult status of the old generation 900, but it's definitely getting a following. Yeah, I just wondered what you guys were thinking about. I know that a lot of you who follow me have mentioned, why don't you talk about the new generation 900? Why don't you talk about the 93 or whatever? But you can always, like, you know, you can always have the same argument that with people who believe that the 900 classic, as we call it, the old generation, if you talk to guys who were really into the V4, they consider those the classic, and that the 900 is like something that came after and is newer and isn't as classic, you know. So you can get arguments for everything, and there's going to be purists in every camp. I've owned a couple of the new generation 900s, and I've owned a couple of the 93s. I've owned the last generation 93, which I thought was an amazing car. But are they really Saabs? That's the thing. You know, you can brand anything, and I do think that, like, as soon as Saab relinquished complete control over manufacturing, that's when we lost true Saab. But there are still arguments that, I mean, I'm sitting right now in my 9000, and I think this is one of the best cars I've ever driven, the most reliable car I've ever driven. But this is a cross-platform car, you know. As we know, I've done a whole video on, like, how this is 3 or 4 different design schools coming into the manufacture of this car. And I know that Saab had a lot of control over it and made changes that kind of went against what the other manufacturers wanted to do. And it feels like a Saab. It really does feel like a Saab. Again, it is a part of that cross-platform. It isn't a true Saab. So then you have to question, well, what is a Saab then? If, you know, if we feel like we're driving a really good car that we really class as a Saab, and yeah, it is from a collaboration of different manufacturers, we have to be very distinct with our definitions in these cases. And I've actually started to change a little bit. I think this is a Saab. I feel like this is as much as a Saab as my 900 turbo convertible. It feels like a Saab, it drives like a Saab. There are definite changes that I like. The key is not where it usually is on a Saab, for instance. Yeah, I think this would be a really good time to have a discussion. And I thought, now that I've got this 900 new generation that I was doing as a little project, it'd be really good to get your thoughts on what you think about that model. Anyway, I rambled on way too long. Welcome back to the Classic Saab Guy. So yeah, I mean, like, driving the new generation 900, I don't think it really reminds me of the old one at all. You know, I don't have, my brain is not connecting to this being a Saab 900 because I'm so used to the old generation. And I guess, I mean, there is something that makes me feel like it is a Saab, but I don't feel in this car I get the Saab experience when I drive it, which is very different from when I'm driving my Saab 9000. That definitely feels like a Saab to me, and I do feel some connection with the older generations. But with this new generation 900, there's definitely a Saab feel to it when I look at it from the outside. There's definitely a Saab feel when I look at some of the instrumentation and stuff. But the driving experience for me definitely doesn't connect me with an old generation 900. What do you think about that?
Like I said, I felt like from the outside I can see a lot of cues that remind me that this is a Saab. When I walk around the car, there are definite features, especially the wheels, the general shape of the car from the outside definitely has cues from the old 900. The fit and finish of the exterior trims and door handles, things like that, are reminding me less of Saab and more of GM's influence. For instance, growing up in England, I had a few Vauxhalls in the 90s, and there is definitely some similarities from Vauxhall cars, especially the Astra and the Cavalier, when I look and get a sense of this car. In that familiarity, to Vauxhalls continues when I'm inside the car. Definitely when I feel like I'm sitting in the car, it reminds me a lot of a mid-90s Vauxhall. There is some elements that remind me of the Saab, such as the green dash and some of the features there, but generally I feel the plastics and the general way the car has been put together reminds me a lot of a Vauxhall. Now, before I get a barrage of comments, this is by no means a bad car, and I'm not trying to negate it as being a Saab. There definitely is a lineage here of this car and its evolution, and there definitely has been changes or influences made by the collaboration with GM. However, saying that, I don't necessarily think that I am making comparisons to highlight the negatives, but merely trying to show the comparison to the older model. I do think that perhaps some of the purity has been lost, where parts and ideas have been shared across platforms is definitely obvious. And I think it's really, really good just to make those comparisons in this video. So in conclusion, the Saab 900 new generation is a good, quality, practical, safe and reliable family car. It definitely has changes from the old generation. We have covered a lot of that in this video. There is a part of me, however, that feels that when this car went into manufacture, that it was a time in Saab's history where they didn't really know where they were going. They were under the influence of a huge monolith that was GM. And I just feel like that perhaps they were unable to take the risks that they had taken before in terms of their design ideas, and perhaps had lost a bit of the flair that we had become used to in earlier Saab designs. Of course, this was just one person's opinion, and the idea was to start a conversation, so I look forward to your comments. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this video. As always, see you again next time on the Classic Saab Guy.